Hey everyone, welcome back or welcome to my channel if you're new here. So I know it's been a long time since I've posted. As I said in my community tab, which you guys should really check out if you guys want the latest updates on my channel, I have been taking law school finals, which have pretty much consumed my life for the past few months. But now that I'm done, I'm actually on vacation with my family, so if you hear background noise, please just disregard. I'll have it back to normal once I get home, but for the time being, I just wanted to film some videos, and I hope you guys don't mind the background noise. I'm going to try to edit it out as best as possible, but if there's a little bit, I'm so sorry, and I'll get rid of it next time. So just my regular disclaimer before I get into everything, I'm reporting on very public information that everyone has access to. The opinions stated are my own unless I say otherwise, and all of my sources are linked down below. Now let's get into it. Firstly, I'd like to say that this case is particularly disturbing and unsettling. So if you guys have trouble with cases like that, you might want to skip this one and go to a different one on my channel because this one is very, very disturbing. So Jennifer Daugherty was born on December 8th, 1979, and she was born with a developmental disability. We do not know the exact disability as it has not been released. I've searched everywhere for it. But what we do know is that at age 30, it caused her to have the mental capacity of a 12 to 14-year-old. So it really caused her to be young in her maturity as well as her judgment. And she really struggled with social cues as well as she struggled with judgment and was extremely trusting of other people, which is important for later in this case. But because she was so trusting of people, it really made her vulnerable, and her family really worried for her because she was so friendly and trusting. Jennifer also had a sister named Joy who described her as being extremely kind and having a big heart, and that she always saw the good in people no matter what. She's also said to have really liked wrestling and scary movies as well as college football, but her real love was in mechanics and fixing things, and she was hoping to follow in the footsteps of her uncle who did this for a career, and she really wanted to pursue this when she got older. Unfortunately, because of her disability, Jennifer was bullied a lot in school. However, this did not stop her from achieving her goals, and at age 30, she was actually in school to become a mechanic and was on her way to achieving her dreams. She also was planning on getting her own apartment and was becoming more independent, and 2 years before she turned 30, so at about 28, before she enrolled in this school, her family had moved from Mesquite, Texas to Mount Pleasant, Pennsylvania, and this was a really good change, and she was thriving there. She was really enjoying being an aunt, and she was really becoming very independent. Part of this new independence was that Jennifer started taking the bus by herself from Mount Pleasant to Greensburg, Pennsylvania for different appointments such as her counseling appointments and her dental appointments, and this was a big step for her. While in Greensburg for her various appointments, she also started attending the community center there where she met a new group of friends, and one of these friends was named Peggy Miller. Now, she told her parents on February 10th, 2010 that she would be sleeping over at Peggy Miller's house that night and going to a dental appointment in Greensburg the next day. Now, this wasn't out of the ordinary as Jennifer had a lot of sleepovers with friends, so her parents didn't think much of it. The morning before she left for her sleepover, Jennifer left her mom Peggy's contact information as well as a note that read, "I hope that you will have a good day at work, and I also love you very much. I will talk to you sometime later." After this, Jennifer's stepfather dropped her off at the bus station where she took a bus and ended up at Peggy's apartment. When Jennifer got to the apartment, it wasn't just her and Peggy. There were also other people there who she considered to be her friends. The people who were there were Robert Lauren Masters Jr., Ricky Smarns, Melvin Knight, Amber Medinger, and Angela Marinucci. These names are all very important, and I know I went quickly, but I'm going to try to put up their photos when I'm talking about them so that you can keep track of all the names. So Jennifer actually knew 17-year-old Angela for previous years, and she considered her to be a good friend. The two actually talked on the phone a lot, and they were actually pretty close at the time of this incident. However, little did Jennifer know that her relationship with Angela actually wasn't that good, as well as her relationship with the others, and that they all really had horrible intentions towards her. All of this stemmed from the fact that Jennifer was romantically involved with 26-year-old Ricky Smyrns, and the two had actually been physically intimate with one another, as well as were kind of carrying on a romantic relationship. Now, this is a problem because Angela was dating Ricky at the time and really got jealous and didn't like this. Now, Amber Medinger got involved because her and Jennifer went to the same place to help with their mental disabilities, and so the two kind of got to know each other. And as they got to know each other, Jennifer expressed her interest in Ricky to Amber and actually told her that she wanted to marry him, which Amber then went and told Angela, and that made her furious. So now back to the night of the 10th. So Jennifer arrived at Peggy's apartment and apparently refused to go get her medication, according to Ricky, who was there, and that caused him to get really angry. He ended up calling Angela and telling her that Jennifer had tried to sleep with him the night before, and that just set Angela off. And so she joined the others, the 5 others, at Peggy's house where they all already were. At this time, when Ricky made this phone call and everything started to get out of hand, Jennifer was actually in the shower. And so by the time she got out, the 6 were already there waiting for her, and they began to bully her and call her names, as well as throwing mouthwash all over her, getting her all wet with mouthwash, as well as ruining all of her things. They also started throwing bottles at her, empty soda bottles, any kind of cans they could find, and then they started physically harming her. Things really started to escalate when Marvin got very physical with her and Amber and Angela joined in. Now, I'm not going to get into the details of what specifically they did. You can look those up if you want to, but again, they're just really graphic and horrible, and I don't think they're necessary. So anyways, the group was all taking turns, the 3 of them were taking turns hurting her physically, and then they brought her out from the bathroom into the living room where they poured spices and oatmeal on her head, which is just so degrading and humiliating. And she was crying, apparently it was getting in her eyes, and she was just begging for them to stop, but they wouldn't. Next, Melvin continued to harm her as well as assault her. Then the group left the apartment and left Peggy and Robert to watch Jennifer, and then Jennifer tried to leave when the 2 were watching her, but they ended up calling the rest of the group to let them know what she was trying to do and did not allow her to leave. And so when the group came back, they were furious that Jennifer had tried to leave, and so they ended up beating her as well as forcing her to take medication, and then the group went to sleep for the night, as well as Jennifer, who was very medicated at this point. The next morning, the horrors just continued as Angela and Jennifer apparently got into a fight over soda, and Angela says that Jennifer kneed her in the stomach, and she claims that this caused her to lose her baby and that it killed her unborn baby. However, this is a complete lie, as Angela was never pregnant, and she was just saying this to try to make herself look better. This event also set Ricky off because he claimed that he was the father of this unborn baby, even though, again, she was not pregnant and there was no baby. So this caused him to decide to hold a family meeting where they all decided that they would kill Jennifer and voted on it. The group continued to torture Jennifer, and I will not get into all the details, like I said, but they did force her to eat and drink Angela's excrements as well as eat laundry detergent, and this made her extremely sick. Next, the group brought her back to the living room and tied her together with Christmas lights and garland so that she couldn't escape from them. They also painted her face with nail polish, and they forced her to write a note saying that she had ended her own life, because at this point they knew that they were going to kill her and they wanted to make it look like they hadn't done it, and so that they wouldn't get in trouble for it. After this ordeal, they brought her back into the bathroom where Melvin stabbed her multiple times. They thought she was dead, but when they noticed she was still breathing, Melvin and Ricky ended up choking her with the Christmas lights. After they knew she was dead, they covered her body in the Christmas lights because Angela wanted her to look like a Christmas tree, which I find so disturbing. So the group decided that they would dispose of her body by putting it in a garbage bag and then into a garbage can and then putting it under someone's car. So they went to Salem Middle School and placed this garbage can under someone's truck. Now, quickly it was found. The next day, the person who owned this truck found this garbage can and her body was identified very quickly. Once the body was identified, it was pretty easy to find out who had put it there and who had killed Jennifer because she had left a note for her mother saying whose house she would be at. So it was very easy to determine who had done it. Surprisingly, many members of the group ended up confessing to their crimes. However, Angela, the mastermind of this whole plan, didn't confess, and in 2011, she was found guilty of first-degree murder. She was sentenced to life in prison because she was only 17 at the time of the crime, and minors can't be sentenced to the death penalty. However, a lot of cases were found after 2011 with the ruling that it was unconstitutional to have a minor sentenced to life in prison, so her case got looked at again. However, in 2013, her sentence was affirmed and she will continue to be in prison for the rest of her life, where hopefully she will rot there forever. Peggy, Robert, and Amber all pled guilty for their involvement in the crime and actually ended up telling police their version of events. However, I'm not sure how reliable these versions are, as they are known criminals, and so you have to take it with a grain of salt. Either way, they all said that this murder had been planned for days in advance, so it really was premeditated. More evidence of this crime being premeditated came forward during some of the trials, as a man named Anthony Zappone said and told police that Angela had overheard Ricky on the phone telling Jennifer he loved her, and that Angela had said when she heard this that she was going to kill Jennifer. As for the sentencing and trials of the six, Amber pled guilty to third-degree murder, kidnapping, and conspiracy, and avoided the death penalty for her testimony against the rest of the group. She received 40 to 80 years in prison. Robert also pled guilty and made a deal with the prosecution, pleading to third-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and conspiracy to commit kidnapping, and received 30 to 70 years in prison. Peggy received 35 to 74 years in prison for her involvement. In 2013, Ricky pled not guilty and was found guilty of first-degree murder by a jury. During Ricky's trial, the defense really tried to paint a sympathetic picture of him, saying that he was born to a drug-addicted prostitute and at as young at age 4, he was diagnosed with many psychological disorders and suffered from multiple personality disorder as well as delusions. And they also said that he really struggled with stability as he was bounced from foster home to foster home and really just struggled throughout his life. They really tried to make him be the victim, even though he's the one who killed an innocent woman with disabilities. However, this isn't even the worst of it. The main defense was claiming that Ricky was mentally handicapped, and this is important because people that are mentally handicapped or have a mental disability, according to the Supreme Court, cannot be sentenced to death. So his defense was really leaning into this theory, trying to claim this so that he would not be executed. However, the jury did not buy this, and in 2013, Ricky was sentenced to death. Melvin Knight was also sentenced to death in 2012 after he pled guilty to first-degree murder, second-degree murder, conspiracy, and kidnapping. His sentence was overturned in 2016 because of an evidentiary error. However, just this year, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court upheld his sentence and he is again on death row along with Ricky. So Robert and Melvin are still on death row and have not been executed yet. However, Jennifer's family say that this does not bring them any closure, and although they are very happy to have justice for their daughter and to feel like she has a voice, nothing will bring her back. They say that they are heartbroken still and they wish that they could still be with her, which is completely understandable. Now, I'm really interested to hear what you guys think about this case. What do you guys think about the punishments? Do you think it's fair that Angela did not get the death penalty even though she was the one who masterminded it because she was 17 at the time? Do you think it's fair that people who are under the age of 18 can't necessarily get life in prison or can't get the death penalty? These are some really big topics and I'd love to hear what you guys think about it down below. But that's all I have for you today, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video and be sure to like and subscribe and stay tuned for my next video. Thanks so much, guys. Bye!